How to create new servers in vCloud Director. Guide by Internet Vikings. VMware vCloud Director for Service Providers is a cloud service delivery platform used to create and manage virtual machines, install any VMs from OS templates and upload OVF templates by the users themselves, flexibly manage access permissions to virtual resources pool, create internal, routed, as well as isolated networks, set up flexible firewall rules and VPN connections, set up load balancing among the VMs, etc. At Internet Vikings, we create VMware services for customers interested in having access to all these things and managing VMs by themselves. When you access your vCloud Director, the first screen you see is as follows. In order to create a new virtual machine, we need to figure out the networking options. So, first step is to go to Network Option and select to Open Networks panel. Here, we can create different networks for different purposes. So, for example, if you need a web setup, you can create a 10-dot network in 24 subnet. Or if you need an additional network, we can create one as follows. Choose Rooted. Choose a name. In this example, we'll use db.test for database purposes. Then enter a gateway CIDR. Then select Next. On the next screen, there will be an option to select Edge Connection. Select the connection like this and then hit Next. Next screen. Here we choose IPs, which will be assigned to virtual machines in this network. Select Add. In this example, we have selected from 10 to 100 to create such a number of virtual machines. Click Next. From DNS screen, here we will just use Google Public DNS. Leave the suffix empty. Go to Next and Finish. The network is created. The next step is to create a virtual machine. Click on New VM and choose a name, for example, DB1 Test. Unselect Power On option. Select From Template. Select a desirable template from the list, for example, Ubuntu 18. Tip: when choosing a VM name, it's not really friendly to have names with dots. Avoid using dots in names. Click OK and wait until VM is created. Once VM is created, click on Details, which will open up Configuration screen. Here, you'll be able to modify how many virtual CPUs you have and amount of memory. You can select Memory Hot Add, Virtual CPU Hot Add options. You can choose disk size and the network to use. So choose Connected and from Network dropdown, select for example DB Test. Then choose Static IP Pool or Static Manual, where you'll be able to enter IP manually. You can go with the Static IP Pool here. In Guest OS Customization, choose Enable Guest Customization. In Guest Properties, to log into this virtual machine, you'll need encoded user data. But how can you get this encoded user data? To resolve this, in your terminal, you need to create a cloud init config file. Basically, you will need this option for SSH access. You'll need password authorization setup. You will also need a user, and you will need to know how it will be named in the /etc/password file. You will also need to choose a password. Obviously, do not use a plain, simple password. Use something more sophisticated. Furthermore, you will need to encode this file by using this command. This command will give you encoded data, which you'll need to copy and paste here. Lastly, click on Save. Next step, go back to the main screen and in Actions, choose Power On and Force Customization. Wait until it's powered up. Then, in Details, you can see which IP address was given to this particular VM. Here it is. We can use this address to create some network rules, DNAT and SNAT. In order for the network and VMs to have access to the internet, you will need to create an SNAT rule. To create an SNAT rule, go to Edges, choose Edge, Services, NAT, and here you will need to add an SNAT rule for each network that is created. So, for example, we created the network db.test, and we go to Edges, Services, NAT and name it SNAT for DB. Next, choose SNAT from Interface Type dropdown. Internal IP will be the subnet of this network. External IP you can choose from the list of available for you. Click Save. Now you should be able to access this VM through the web console. Remember that in the encoded data we used the file with the username test, and the password was Testpassword. Now you are logged into the web console where you can perform any SSH commands. To log into SSH, you will need to first add a DNAT rule, which works similar to port forwarding rule. For this, you will need to know the internal address of the VM. Then go to Edges, Services, NAT, and add a DNAT rule. For example, DNAT for DBVM. Again, add external IP from the available list. Application is not obligatory but may be used. You can see the default ports for each application here. We won't be using this feature here. Here you have the option Internal Port. If you have many VMs on one external IP, you will need to use Port Forwarding option and write some custom port for each VM, so you'll be able to log in with one external IP to different VMs. As we only have one VM in this example, we won't use it. Now you should be able to log into this VM using this command. And type in Testpassword. And that's pretty much it. Need more guidance or information? Visit our website and contact our account managers.